Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is not just another conversation. This is where we challenge the way leaders think. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are from, in your chat box, in your remarks, just write down where are you logging in from so that we know who all are here. This is going to be a conversation which is going to be uh, full of conversation, and it's not going to be a download. So I would like all of you to be very, very active in your commenting. For those of you who have been part of my journey in the BSB Live, would remember that we used to do something called BSB Live. And BSB Live was all about conversations, about perspectives, and shared learnings. But over time, I realized something. If leadership is evolving today, then conversations around leadership also need to evolve. And that's why this is not BSB Live anymore. This is the BSB Leadership Podcast, a space where we go deeper, not just into, yeah, not just a space where we go deeper, not just into what leaders do, but how they think. Because in today's world, leadership is not defined by authority, it is defined by clarity of thought. And that's where we begin our today's conversation. For the longest time, we have been told something very simple, that if you want to succeed as a leader, and particularly in the army, we were told that you need to be disciplined, structured, logical, and efficient. All that may be true, but today something has changed. Machines are becoming more logical than us, isn't it? And AI is becoming faster than us. So the real question is no longer how efficient are you as a leader, but the question is something more fundamental: creativity. Not with leadership, not creativity as in art or music, but creativity as a way of thinking, deciding, and leading. And that's where today's conversation begins. So we begin with a question: what if creativity is not a talent, but the real leadership advantage? And to explore this, I couldn't have got a better guest than the one who's here today. He's a globally respected leader, speaker, and former Director General of the Department of Tourism. He has represented his country on international platforms, shaping conversations around sustainable development, leadership, and the future of human centric thinking. With a unique ability to blend governance, creativity, and strategic insight, he has consistently challenged conventional views of leadership, bringing in perspectives that are deeply reflective, culturally rooted, and globally relevant. So his work goes beyond frameworks. He enables leaders to think differently, question deeply, and lead with greater awareness in an increasingly complex world. We are talking about nobody other than other than Dorji Dhradhul. Dorji Dhradhul, we are welcome. We are so happy to have you here with us today. How are you doing, Dorji?
Brigadier Saab, I'm doing very good. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for that very kind introduction of me. Thank you so much, Brigadier Saab. And I'm so happy to be and honored to be your first guest on this very relevant and timely podcast on leadership talks.
Yes, you will certainly go into the history as the first guest, first episode. So, really, really speaking, I'm so happy to have you here. And having seen you on the stage in Chennai just about a couple of months back, I've really I saw something in you where I said I must call this gentleman for a podcast. So
Thank you so much.
before we go into frameworks and big ideas, let me start very simply. When somebody calls you a creative champion, what does that really mean to you in your in your normal everyday life?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good question to start with, because I call myself as creativity catalyst. So even before others call me, I call myself as creativity catalyst. So when someone tells me that, then basically what I would understand is my mission or my work should be, how can I uh, encourage and inspire other fellow citizens, or I mean, for that matter, anyone, to be more creative. And in doing so, I think I should be also, in whatever I do, I should also try to do things in a very creative way. So that is how I would interpret.
Very good. So nice. So, Dorji, let's address something very basic. I want to ask you that most leaders still believe that creativity is for artists, not for boardrooms. And at least in the army, we were told we were not, we were told creativity is not for you. And I also used to think, and my son is a very creative person. So I thought, oh, you can't go to the army because you are creative, and that's not what is required. So, is that true or is it a myth?
Okay, Brigadier, uh, this is the myth. In fact, this is the biggest myth. I think there are a couple of myths that really prevents us, the humans, to be more creative. And the biggest myth, as you have just highlighted, is saying that creativity is only for select few. Not everybody can become a creative. You are creative only if you are born as a creative, meaning you have to be that special person, maybe an artist, maybe a musician, maybe an author, maybe a philosopher. So if you are not any of these, a specialized kind of a stream, then you cannot be a creative. So that has been the biggest kind of obstacle for us human beings to be a more creative. Now, why we are saying this is a myth is, uh, I will try to explain this, because for very, very long time in our human history, the civilizations have been believing that we human mind or human brain has no capability to uh, to create thoughts or to create anything for that matter. And you know what? For the Greeks, have been believing that uh, we humans cannot create. So therefore, any creative thing that happens by a individual human being, then they are actually being identified by some divine authority up in the heaven. They will select and they will say, okay, this particular person, for example, Dorji, now you are going to be creative. We will give you this power, and then after I get this, then I do something more creative. Otherwise, if you are not that chosen one, then you cannot be creative. So that has stayed for very long. So creativity as a pure art, as a pure magic, and as a divine intervention. Otherwise, ordinary human beings cannot become a creative. Then came the Renaissance from 13th century till 19th century. It was upgraded. Then the human beings started to learn about the science and then humanism. And then after that, the creativity was kind of upgraded from a magic to a genius level. Now, again, more or less same. Now, they're saying, okay, now creativity is no more magic, it is genius, but then it has to be a gene again only for a selected people. Now, again, that has also continued till 19th century. Now, it was only in 20th century when scientists, neuroscientists, educationists, they started to study creativity, and then they finally proved that creativity is not just an art, it is also a science. It is a psychological process wherein there will be a lot of processes, where a lot of stages, a lot of, and also creativity is something that you can learn, you can be trained, you can become more creative. So it is only from 20th century we started to understand this. So very, for very long. But the challenge is even today, after the science have proven that creativity is that gene, you can get learn, you can be trained, but then still, I believe, even in today's world, as we speak about the world being almost like being taken over by artificial intelligence, robotics, but despite that, majority of us are still believing that myth which you have just highlighted. So therefore, our the human beings creativity level has been kept very, very, very low. Maybe I'll stop just now uh,
Yeah.
at this point.
So Dorji, I heard you say that creativity can be learned. Is that right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
if creativity can be learned, so what does learning creativity actually look like for a leader? Is there any space where creativity is not required?
Creativity is required in every aspect. Earlier, I think we said creativity is only in some kind of art, special art. But now what we are seeing is creativity is in every human activity that we do. So leadership is, of course, one very specialized kind of a skill or a area. But in every activity that humans do, creativity is there. Because, as you say, now, uh, I mean, from stone age to space age that human beings have come is all because of creativity. Now, when you talk about learning about creativity, again, of course, there are a number of ways you can do. In fact, I have written a book, and there I have listed a few kind of strategies and methods how you can learn to be more creative. But then, most importantly, I just want to highlight here in this talk is because of the limited time, the biggest learning would be to change your mindset. We need to change, the leadership has to change the mindset that creativity is something that we can learn. I as a leader, I should be able to learn to be more creative, and also I should believe that my followers or my subordinates, my teammates, they can also learn to be more creative. So together we can make a creative culture in our organization, and then as a creative culture organization, you can do much better. So therefore, biggest learning, the first step to become more creative is, for anyone for that matter, whether it is a leader or whether it is any human being, I think we need to change our mindset. So meaning, um, uh, as you have just highlighted, we have to erase that myth that creativity is only in some specialized field like art, music, and writing, for example. Or and the other one is creativity is something that uh, kind of a human birthright for everyone. That gene is already there. The only thing is we need to unleash this. The creativity gene is lying dormant in all the human beings. It is given there. It is there, but then we need to unleash this by uh, through various means. The biggest one is, I think, to start with, to change your mindset that yes, creativity can be learned. You can get yourself trained to be more creative.
I also want to ask you another thing that today, as we talk a lot about AI, uh, is creativity really enough to compete with AI? And where do you see leaders struggling today? Is it lack of capability or lack of creative thinking? So, if a leader becomes purely logical, what do they lose?
In fact, I think this is the crux of the matter. I would say in our today's talk, creative leaders advantage. Now, if a leader or if a person doesn't have or use his power of creativity, then he or she can be easily replaced by AI, by machines, by robotics, robots, for example. Now, it is only that creativity power that we humans have that will keep us different or above the so-called the artificial intelligence, the robots and the machines. And without using this creativity, then we can be easily replaced. So, in fact, one of my main mission in trying to take this creativity to the masses is mainly for this reason. Because if we don't do this, then there is every reason, every risk that we human beings could be taken over by artificial intelligence, robots, and machines. So that danger is real there. So we can only prevent that danger from happening is by becoming more creative. So only through our, because as of now, what I'm saying when I say we have to become more creative means not only I as an individual, but as the whole world as a one family. Because Brigadier Saab, what I would like to also share is, for last 70,000, for last 70,000 of our human civilization, that was the time when the creativity gene in human beings started to get active. It was only in last 70,000. I mean, and it was being kind of leveled by Yuval Noah Harari. I mean, that is what he said. Presently, we are supposed to be in the era of creativity. I mean, cognitive revolution. Now, uh, and my assessment is for the last 70,000, only 2.5% of humanity's creativity potential is being used. Meaning 97.5% of human potential creativity that we have is not being used. It is being totally left dormant. Now, my mission is to make that dormant of 97.5% creativity that's lying dormant to come into active, and then to, upgrade our humanity or human potential to the next level, which I call as humanity 2.0. And then that would mean our world, our earth will become a much, much better place. It will be almost like a Shangri-La, where we are talking about the perfect ideal situation where there will be no poor, no poverty. It will be perfect peace, prosperity, and harmony. So, therefore, what I'm trying to say is we really need to, when I say to become more creative, means it's not just you and me. I'm talking about the whole world. Because as of now, only 2.5% are being using their full creativity. And those 2.5% are those people like, for example, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, the Jeff Bezos, all those big and rich people, which more or less constitutes just about 3%, and they own almost like more than 50% of the world's wealth. And they are the only creative, and we, rest of us, we are using the work of their creativity. Now, what I'm saying is, through this unleashing the creativity power, we can become all like Elon Musk. We can have millions and billions of Elon Musk. That's
Beautiful.
what I'm trying.
So I find that a lot of our viewers today are also agreeing, and I'm getting a lot of comments. And look at this one on the screen right now. Vibhuti Sharma from Bangalore. She's saying that absolutely creativity is in everyone, and that's the foundation for creating an innovative mindset. So I think we are all agreeing and flowing in the same direction. But what about constraints? I want to ask you that does creativity thrive or survive in constraints?
Uh, Actually, yes, creativity. In fact, creativity is most needed in when you are under this kind of a restricted or a constrained kind of environment. That is the time when, if you are careful, if you are already trained for that, you can become most creative. And in fact, that is most needed. And so, therefore, what I'm saying is, presently, I feel the world is under crisis in terms of the creativity. We don't have, we're not using enough creativity. So, under this crisis, now it is an opportunity time for all the human beings to be more creative. So we are under crisis. But I think what you are also trying to ask is, if I'm correct, uh, so far it is commonly believed that when you are under kind of a restricted, not really restricted, under a organized kind of a system, like for example in schools we have rules and regulations the students have to follow. And so there are quite a big number percentage of the people who believe that the present school kills creativity in our children. And in fact, Sir Ken Robinson, I mean, he has a TED talk, very popular TED talk titled as "Do School Kills Creativity?" So basically, he's also asking if the organization's rules and regulations are so restrictive, if there's no flexibility, then definitely it would kill the creativity as a system. But then, as an individual, you still have that potential. You still have that option. You can actually try take this opportunity to be more creative and try to address whatever constraint is there, because basically to be creative means try to find new solutions for a problem. That is also a definition of a creativity. I mean, to be creative means you look for a new solutions for an existing problem, or you try to find for a new ways of doing things, better ways of doing things, or for something that you're already doing. So this is basically a
Okay,
meaning
okay,
of creativity.
okay. Dorji, we'll coming back to AI, and I'm also finding some very interesting questions coming up in the comments, which I'll just share with you in a while. So we are just talking about AI for and I have heard many people ask this question: is creativity really enough to compete with AI? I want to expand that by saying, where do you see leaders struggling today? Is it lack of capability or lack of creative thinking? If your leader becomes purely logical, I told you, asked you that earlier also, what do they lose? That means, is it very important that they don't struggle and they work with creativity? More leader
No,
biased.
Brigadier, yes, definitely they will lose if you're just being logical. Because now, in terms of logic, in terms of the usage of the data and all, AI is much better than any human beings. I mean, in terms of logic and in terms of repeated tasks that we are talking about. So therefore, as I said earlier, if you don't have this creativity as a leader, then you can be easily replaceable. For that matter, any human being. So therefore, the creativity
Yeah.
has to come now.
So if AI can write, design, analyze almost everything, so what exactly is left for the humans? Where does creativity really stand out in this equation?
Okay, so my understanding is, of course, I cannot claim myself to be any expert on this, particularly when it comes to AI. But then my understanding is, as of now, it is believed that AI, machines, robots, they can do almost everything what human beings can do. But only thing that they cannot do is they cannot use the what human beings can use, our creativity gene. Meaning, they cannot imagine, they cannot totally kind of create something new. So they AI and robots and machines, they can do only whatever is already fed there in the system, in various algorithms. I mean, they use all this. So whatever information is already there, they use it. But I think they don't have that. Besides this imagination, besides this creativity, they also don't have these emotions. Like human beings, we have emotions. I mean, that is again emotional intelligence. It is very important. So these are
Although
not still.
although
These are
I've
still not.
heard this, huh, although I've heard this that now AI is also being able to create emotions. That's also something which I have read. But more importantly, I think what you're saying is that the future will not belong to the most intelligent people. It'll belong to the most creative people, because there are areas of creativity which AI cannot do. So the human element of creativity, of spirituality, of judgments, etc., which the humans can do based on their impulses, that the AI will not be able to do. That I agree with you. And before we move on, let me also tell everyone here in the audience that next week or next Wednesday, we have another AI expert coming, and he will throw a lot of light on AI versus humans. So now let's move ahead. And I have a very interesting question that I can see here. First, let's see if we answer that question. So Vibhuti is asking, what is the one step that leaders can take to leverage the power of creativity to make the first move? That's a very interesting one, because I had a similar question in my mind, but then when she has asked it, I thought, let me take that first.
Yes. The first step I would say is, as I've said earlier, is the mindset. The leader has to change his mindset you that you have the power to be more creative, and not only yourself, even your staff. Now, now let's imagine the leader is a creative, and he wants to be creative. So the first step, again, if you're talking about an organization here, I mean, building an organization, the the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization, then I think we need to try to create a culture of creativity. Now, how can you create a culture of creativity in an organization? Is through some of some very basic change in the shifts in the way you conduct this. First is try to encourage or introduce the questioning culture, because when you say about creativity, as I said earlier, as I believe, you are actually trying to question whatever you're doing as of today, because you are questioning to do things better for the benefit of the organization, for the benefit of everyone. I mean, I talk at the benefit at the humanities level. So therefore, because in many kind of a traditional or conventional society, we have a hierarchy. in terms of organization. A leader or a leadership, somebody has already been put in that position, is at the top rung. So therefore, well, most of the time, if any subordinates or if any staff down the ladder, if they try to ask questions, then I think it's not taken kindly, and they would immediately, uh, in a way, kind of penalized. For example, I mean, in a very serious cases, but of course not in every case. But then, in most of our organization, that culture is still there. A leader is leader. A boss is always boss, based on the hierarchy. So therefore, it is not in your power or authority or in your right to question anything. So the biggest, I would say, the first step is to create a culture of creativity, and culture of creativity can be introduced, can be encouraged through creating a culture of wherein you can question, anybody can question. But as I said, I mean, there has to be also kind of a
Okay, so I
definition,
think we'll
a limit.
proceed ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go to the next question coming from Lucknow. So here's Piyush Seth asking a question that do the surrounding environment have an impact on creativity or one's mindset?
Definitely, I would say definitely, but then that should not restrict you. Definitely, it will have a positive and negative environment. Like, for example, there is also a belief that, I mean, it is kind of scientifically proven. If you want to be more creative, it seems the dimmer the light, like for example, just now I'm in a very bright environment. I think if it is too bright, I think you cannot be more creative. So if you want to be more creative, even the environment, the light has to be dimmer. For example, the recommended light power is 50, it seems 50 lux, but then the normal this the light that just now I'm is under is around 200. So therefore it is much more than what it should be if you I want to be creative. I mean, that is a very physical thing. But besides this, the people that you are surrounded with, as I said earlier, the culture of creativity. So if the people surrounding around you are not supporting the to be more creative, then definitely your creativity level will come. So definitely yes, the environment will, both the physical and the emotional, psychological environment will definitely have an impact on your creativity. But then, as I said, at the end of the day, again, you as an individual person, you can, uh, I mean, overcome all these challenges, and you can still be a creative. I mean, nothing should stop you. Nothing should stop you to be more creative.
Firstly, I want to thank the audience. They're really very, very active today, and I'm getting so many comments that I sometimes find how do I cope up with the type of and with the number of questions that are coming up. So, Vibhuti, of course, is agreeing with you and is thanking you and agrees that questioning is a good tool indeed. And we also have Alka from Mumbai, and she's saying there's an artist sitting inside each one of us, and we have to awaken that artist from inside of us. How do we do that?
No, so coming to this, Dr. Alkas Chadas, I think there's very good comment, I would say. And of course, we human beings are born as artists, they say. I mean, art in that real sense, which the Brigadier has already highlighted. Let's say, I mean, the real art, the music. So that also we human beings are born. But then as we age, because of the environment, I think is related to the earlier question, we slowly become less and less creative. Because at the age of 3 to 4, 5, you are like almost like 98% creative at a genius level. Then as you become adult, it seems only 2% of us are still tested as a creativity at genius level. Now, I mean, that is the trend or the study what it says. So therefore, the cried, as Dr. Alka Chhada has said, the artist that is always within us, but now it's not getting exposed. And as I think we have discussed earlier, it's basically it's up to us that we as a leader and you as an individual, we need to be convinced that it is there. We need to bring it out. So there are many ways. I mean, how you can bring that out. Of course, I will not have time to dwell into
Yeah,
this.
yeah. And I know Alka herself knows many ways of doing it. Okay.
Okay.
So good. So now let's come back to AI with an AI expert here. So Anand here is also asking that as an IT professional, I always used to think that I am not creative and more logical. But over a period of time, I have realized that I am logically creative.
So
So what do you say to that?
this is really a professional term, logically creative. Something I really appreciate and respect.
Yes, even
And
I want to write. I have just written down that because logically
yes,
creative is really, really the crux of it. And yeah, and Anand will be here next Wednesday to talk more about AI, and of course, we'll have some good fun with him. Now, here he's asking another question to you, Dorji. He said, with tools like Nano Banana has taken creativity to a different level where even ordinary people can create something they have in their mind in the form of images. Don't you think that AI has amplified our creativity?
no, actually, I also believe, but more and more, I believe that AI can do almost like what human beings can do. But as of now, we're still trying to defend, saying that AI, machines, and robots, they cannot do as much as we, especially in terms of emotions, especially in terms of creativity, the original kind of a thinking. But I'm also slowly thinking in that way. So therefore, my say is, yes, there is every risk if we human beings, if we don't become more creative. Now when I said, again, I have to qualify this, I was trying to qualify earlier also. When I say we become more creative means we need more human beings to be more creative at a higher creativity level, because I said just now we are only 2.5% of the human population creative in that category. Now we want the rest of the 97.5 to be in that. Then only I think we can stay ahead of this creativity.
You
So
know,
just now, what
Dorji,
are the, yes.
yeah, taking it forward from what Anand said. See, I didn't know what is Nano Banana till last year we went to Goa, and when we got into the flight, just before we got into the flight, there was a WhatsApp message with a picture that a few friends of ours like Deepak, Kemani, and Alka, and all, we were all there together. And they were taking off in a flight from Paris. And there was a picture where they were all taking a selfie, and behind them was the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or no, and all that. Sorry, no. They were in Paris. So, what he showed us was that he just gave a prompt that please create a uh, this thing Paris environment, and that became we got so inquisitive, and then he started giving prompts and started getting pictures which were unimaginative. What I feel, with whatever little I have experienced in all this creativity with ideogram and with the Nano Banana and all that, is that if I can't draw, I have an idea in my mind, I can't draw it, but AI helps me draw that or create that image. But in my mind, I still give it a beautiful prompt. So actually, now what Anand will probably agree with me is that now the act is how beautifully can you give that prompt to get exactly what you're wanting. So the creativity is still there because when you're giving a prompt, that is also a creative part. What do you say to that?
True. No, definitely. No, definitely. I agree. I mean, so at the end, I think it is the humans. I mean, for example, you talk about prompts. So it is our humans' capability. I mean, how do we frame that prompts? Of course, now presently we also have a lot of books and references on how to write a prompt. But then it is something that something in the domain of the humans' creativity. Now, I mean, uh, just to highlight, I mean, try to demonstrate, I mean, how human beings can be still ahead of this AI. Now, AI can do anything that we ask them to do through our prompting, yeah, and proper prompting. But what I feel is, like, for example, I mean, we have been all using, like, for example, Chat GPT, Banana, I mean, all those Nano Banana, we have been using this. But then just imagine, okay, we tell them to do something, they'll do it. Now, if it is about a human relationship between myself and, let's say, my spouse, for example. Oh, I want to do something of a emotional activity with my spouse or with my partner, with the help of AI. I don't think that AI can really help us to do this connection in whatever prompt you may like to give them. So at the end, it has to be a human to human kind of a interaction. It has to be my own kind of a, the AI can never help me to improve my relationship with my spouse. I mean, this is what I believe. So when we talk about the human creativity, human emotions, and all, I think we are basically talking about that. I mean, this is just
Yeah,
coming to me
yeah,
as we are speaking.
I agree. And also, you see, today the concern is that, like we go to the gym to exercise physically, unless you think and create things and leave everything to AI. And like what Alka is saying somewhere here, I saw no, I'm not even going in sequence because there are some things which are coming later, but more. Where is it gone? Uh, Alka had written something just now. Ah, so what she's saying and what I'm also going to talk about is that if we leave everything to AI, then our human minds will stop thinking and we will probably become dumb if we don't do that. So, using AI, for example, for things which are computing, things which can be done by in minutes, which you'll take 2 days or 10 days to do, that is fine. But if we give our control and our thinking and our basic human instincts to I think we would be doing a lot of harm. What do you say to that?
No, with due respect, Professor, I mean, Brigadier Saab, actually, I will not agree to this.
Hmm.
Uh, yes, I also heard this lot of comments that if we let everything to the AI to do, I mean, in our daily correspondence, writing new things and all, then maybe our brains will be slowly shrink. But I definitely don't believe this, because whatever, basically the AI, the robots, the machines, what they're doing is they're just trying to make things much more simpler. But at the end, as of now, we are still behind this. The human brains are still behind this, and we will be still controlling this. So that doesn't mean that let's say I'm outsourcing my essay writing to a chat GPT. That doesn't mean that, I mean, I personally believe that doesn't mean that I'm not thinking. I'm already thinking, okay, there's a given topic there. I'm already thinking, okay, then I make uh, get the help of AI to put it in his words or her words, but then I will be still thinking. So I personally believe that using more and more of AI and machines and robots will do. I mean, will kind of diminish the capacity of human brain. I don't think so.
No, okay. Let me uh, amplify that a little better. It certainly means that if I use AI as a master and just say, "Tell me what to do," and then and you follow what AI says, then that means you are treating it as a master and not a slave. So I had read this somewhere when I was giving a TEDx talk, and a fellow speaker was talking on AI. The very first slide he said that AI is a very loyal and a very useful servant, but a very dangerous master. Which means when you stop thinking, and I'm actually supporting you by saying that if you stop your creativity, you stop your thinking, and let the thinking also be done by AI, then you are surrendering and you will not be exercising your mind. And if you don't exercise your mind, obviously your mind will become a little sluggish. So you need to exercise your mind as well, and that is what you are saying about
Yes.
creativity. So anyway, that was the point that I was wanting to say. uh, I've got a couple of other things which are also coming up here. Ulhas is saying, uh, are there any recommended exercises for the right brain?
No, so for the creativity, of course, uh, first and foremost, the exercise in the sense that I think you have to be always asking questions. Like, I mean, that would be, as you have earlier also just said, to keep our brain, our creativity active. I think we need to be always asking questions, challenging not in the wrong sense, but in the positive sense. For example, the way we communicate as of today, I mean, how can we do it in a better way? Yeah, so you have to be always asking. For example, even if you just go and in the kitchen, if you start cooking, maybe you can ask question, how can I put together a different combination of ingredients so that I come up with a recipe which could be more beneficial to my health, and also at the same time it is more cost effective. So therefore, I think one recommended exercise I would say is always questioning. That is one. Then of course they also say one is of course the environment. As I said earlier, I think it is more advisable that you go and take time out into the forest, wilderness, where things are very quiet. Because when you're always in kind of urban kind of environment, I think it doesn't really give you a chance to become more creative. So I think just to keep your men to be creative, I think give an opportunity for yourself to be in a very silent, in a aloof kind of a situation. Meaning, if you can, if you have a forest nearby, a park nearby, I think you should go and take those advantage. I think these are some things I can just share.
Yeah. But to Ulas, I would say that we can certainly take this offline. There are many exercises, including puzzles and things like that, which are used for right brain exercise. And particularly when you are not in active work after retirement and all, you certainly need to do more of that, because if you're not keeping your brain active, it starts slowing down. Okay, couple of more comments and questions. Vidita is saying that we are not losing creativity, we are just getting comfortable letting AI think before we do. I think we have already talked about it. This is from Chedor Illustrations. In a competitive business market with AI, what are the key secrets to outspace rivals through creativity?
Yeah, this is a very valid question. So this competition uh, in the market because of the AI, of course, if you if you're talking just at the market level, then you also try to excel in that particular AI. I think you develop your capacity in that AI, and then make use of that AI, and then you can be more competitive in that particular market you're talking about business. But what we are also talking here is much bigger than that. We are talking at a more at a leadership level, at a creativity versus the artificial intelligence, and also that is again at a different level. But I think Mr. Chador's question, basically, I think you also need to join that race, and then be more, ahead of others in that market.
You know what I hear you saying, Dorji, is that we cannot stop ignoring the value of AI and leverage it rather than oppose it.
Yes.
But while doing that, we don't stop our creativity. So we
Yes.
use creativity to leverage AI, and it's not this and that, or this or that. It is this and that. You have to use AI and creativity both. And if they're done
Yes.
in the right proportion, in the right way, then I think a leader would end up doing much more. Okay, we've gone into a lot of general questions and we are probably forgetting the leadership part, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so Alka, another comment is that when we create flow in our life, we become most creative, and that comes with a lot of silence time. I
Yes.
agree. Actually, Alka talks a lot about this, and she's got
Mhm.
another comment which follows. Says, "Thanks, Dorji. What do you think is the role of stillness time in becoming more creative?"
No, yes, Dr. Alkaji, I think I've already shared this. To be in a kind of a still, silent, and quiet environment will definitely help you to be more creative. And this actually I link to the mindfulness, the meditation, because to me, mindfulness is creativity. That is at the highest level of creativity. And I also like to say that to me, again, my understanding definition of creativity is at the height of your highest creativity, you will be even considered as an enlightened being, and that is your highest level of creativity. So it is a kind of a continuous process. So as we all know, when you talk about meditation, mindfulness, it is mostly done in a very kind of a silent, in a quite kind of an environment. So this is how I understand. So thank you very much.
Okay. And I think now we'll start towards our closing, because we've already done 45 minutes. And that's normally what we start with question answers, but we're already answering questions. Yeah. So Vibhuti again from Bangalore says that in fact, the very fact that we are talking about AI today that itself is someone's creative mind at play. Of course, yes, very
That's
much.
true, Vivek. That's true.
Okay, and then we'll come to, okay. So here is Colonel Nikam from Pune, Sayaji Nikam. So he said there are a number of courses on writing a prompt. AI can give you the content for a training program. Arey Nikam, nobody will understand TRG, okay, program, but capturing human behavior in a group is a human instinct. This cannot be done by AI. Yeah, over to Dorji
Exactly.
for this.
Yes. No, I mean, totally agree with whatever Colonel Nikam is saying. Yes. This is also the point that I've been also trying to say. Yes.
Okay, so we've got more and more people, I think, who joined in now. So think of AI as a friend who is available 24/7 for discussing topics flowing through your mind. You can enhance your thoughts with it, but do not rely entirely on what AI gives you as an output. I totally agree with them, and actually, I do a lot of it. And I say, you know, if I treat AI as a assistant, so even at 3 o'clock in the after midnight, it doesn't tell me कि अभी रात हो गई है, let me go to sleep, or doesn't say कि I'm having a headache. So there is somebody who available to you, and even for bouncing off ideas. I'm thinking of this. This is my idea. Do you validate it, or do you think that there's another better way of doing it? And you may come across two, three options, and either you discard them, or you accept them, or you partly accept them and adapt them. So to that extent, yes, it's a tool. But I always say one thing, Dorji. I say that if you take a hammer is designed and produced to drive a nail. But if you go and hit that hammer on somebody's head and kill him, you can't blame the hammer. There's nothing wrong with the hammer, it's its usage. So, same thing.
Yeah.
AI is a very good tool, but to what
Exactly.
extent are we using it? And more about AI will be next week. But let's now get on to last couple of things. Okay, so here he says, do you think AI affect mental rest and cognitive well-being by making our technical work to solve faster?
Yeah, I mean, as Brigadier yourself has said, if you take AI as your master, then yes, definitely this would kill our cognitive power. But I think it would be important for all human beings to be mindful and take AI as our servant, not as a master. I think that is something that we have to keep in mind.
Okay, and I've got another Brigadier Saab come up, Brigadier Tipsy. He has a long name, but in short, he's Tipsy. Okay. AI and creativity complement each other perfectly. Yeah, that's what I said. And AI was, after all, born out of creativity. One must exploit both. Okay. So that is exactly what I said. I don't think we'll go more on that. Another one from Nikam is creativity gives an edge to a leader. It makes a leader sensitive, activates all senses. I think
Yes.
that's at least coming back to leadership. Yes, because we went so much out of leadership and focus became AI. And
Yeah. Yes.
very right, because we were talking about AI versus creativity, so that's fine.
Yes.
Okay. So, what would you say to this? And then I'll come to the last question. Although I'm having more questions coming up, but we'll see that if there's time. We will cover all questions, because I said even if we go over time, we will not leave the audience with questions unanswered.
Okay, I think, Brigadier, if you give me a chance, I think on this comment, I
Ah,
like to say that the one thing, the biggest thing that I want to uh, hope to convey to in this talk is that the statement which actually I have created, and which is leaders don't create creativity, but creativity creates leaders. Because why I'm
yeah.
saying this is meaning now as we go forward in this 21st century, uh, leader, if he or she is to be great leader, effective leader, then he or she has to be creative first, not leader first. First, you get yourself to be trained as a creative. Then once you become a creative, that will naturally upgrade you to a leadership role. But as of now, conventionally, what is happening is so far, which I see as the biggest shortfall is, which has, must have served in the past, but now going forward, it will not serve because there are so many leadership training going on. For example, I used to say I myself have attended maybe not less than 5 leadership training to be how to be a great leader, and all those trainings, as far as I remember, there were no kind of a dedicated section or modules to increase your creativity. It was more on a leadership quality, other blah blah blah. Yeah, but so therefore, I feel the present curriculum, most of these things that I've seen are lacking in this creativity element, meaning there are no enough module or content to increase the creativity of a leader. So therefore, I feel going forward, if we want to be an effective professional and great leader, then I think also we talk a lot about artificial intelligence and all. So in view of all these, now the 21st century leader, if you have to be excelling, you have to be a creative first. Meaning, if you have not undergone any kind of a designed creativity training, then you have to do it. So my kind of most important thing I want to say is yes. I think thank you, Brigadier. I think you have just brought it on the screen. Leaders do not create creativity. Creativity creates leaders. So this is what I wanted to say.
Sorry for that question mark. Yeah, I typed it quickly. Okay, great. So I think that was a very, very good statement. And I think that's my takeaway from today. The best thing that it is not leaders who create creativity, it's creativity which creates leaders. So today, in the army, made a brief mention in the beginning that we used to be told that you have to have discipline. We used to say in our drill square, marching and all kills creativity. But even if we have a lot of discipline and logic and everything, a lot of obedience, but ultimately, when a leader is in dire, tough situations, uncertainty, pressure situations, then the decision making and the thinking that a leader does is absolutely creative. Because every leader will come across with different decisions, and that will depend on how creatively you are thinking. So, when leaders learn or leaders understand that nobody taught us how to think, and as Dorji says, nobody taught us creativity. So, in at least one thing I am doing that in all my leadership capsules, I'm going to be adding creativity and thinking, the art of thinking. The
Yes.
art of thinking, neither parents taught us, nor schools taught us, nor the army taught us. Art of thinking for a leader is very important. Somewhere you'll find some traces of it in the Art of War by Sun Tzu. There are some traces of saying how you should be thinking. But we need to go deeper into this. So that was a very important thing. Okay, let me just go through a few more questions that have come up, and then we will probably come to closing the talk today, right? So here, let me get back to where we were after tipsy. There are some just comments. I'm just showing them. We are not discussing them. Then we have uh, okay, Dr.
No, so
Hartani
Dr.
Osman. It has been a great tools for me, especially when you have not enough manpower to help in your administrative documentation or thoughts. I don't think anyone is going to deny that. That's very true. And I was also saying that this is a tool which is available to you. It's all weather. It never gets tired and all that. And I don't think 10 people could do the job in a company, I mean, in your team. But still, I don't think I can just rely on AI. I need to have my team otherwise.
Hi,
So,
Dr. Osman. So good to see you. Dr. Artini is from Malaysia. I just
okay,
saw
okay,
you.
okay. Okay, good, good, good. So, yes, so, and I agree with her completely. What she's saying is right. And but we use both. Like I said earlier, that it is not this versus this. It is becoming actually uh, it is both. We need both.
Yes.
Yes, I said this earlier. It's becoming more of an AI topic rather than creativity topic. And I think Anand is also concerned because he's going to be speaking next week on AI, and he's probably thinking that a lot of thunder is being taken away. But he has lots of more things to talk about, and he talks about basically the human elements. So we'll have a lot of new things to be, and all those who have shown so much of interest today in AI. I wanted to say this in the end, but it's come up. So be there next week to hear Anand Iyer. And Anand Iyer is AI by himself because his name is AI, Anand Iyer. So he's the right person for that. Okay. So there are some people who are admiring. Uh, yeah, there is somebody I think you know.
Yes.
Is that
Hi,
right?
hi,
Yeah.
Mr. Basnet. Yeah. So, Brigadier Saab, I think of course, we have been also talking a lot on AI. I think it is so natural because the question of creativity is coming, especially for me, is because of the rapid advancement in AI, machines, and robotics. So, because of that, we are saying now we human beings have to be more creative. If you don't be more creative, then these things can, something that we created could also overtake us. So, therefore, I think it's so natural that we are discussing more on AI and all when you talk about creativity. And also, I mean, Brigadier Saab, my full respect to you that you have in the next talk seems to be on AI, which is so kind of a natural uh, follow up to today's talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all that you said is so powerful, and so I think everyone has resonated. And the type of interactions, at least in more than 40 podcasts that I've done earlier, I've never had this type of interaction from the audience. So, audience, thank you very much, each one of you. Some of you have been commenting, and I know that some of you have been silently watching. So, it's very, very nice of you. And even if you have not said something, just say, at least say hi from them, so that we then it gets to be known who all actually attended. Yeah. So Dorji, what thank you very much for what powerful insights you've given us. And yeah, before we close, I want to ask you one thing. Is there any one thought you would like every leader listening today to carry with them? Something that is very important for a leader and creativity, and we don't talk anything about AI there. Let's do something other than AI. What is what does leadership entail in terms of creativity, and why it is important that a leader must dive into creativity more consciously?
Oh yes. So if I may say, okay, the first is maybe two things I would say for the future leaders or somebody who wants to be a great, effective leader. First is as a leader, your main responsibility is just to set the stage and create the climate there, make it a kind of a conducive climate for your team to be more creative. Because creativity, as we have said, is not an optional. It has to be there now as we move forward. So therefore, it is now the main responsibility of a leader would be to create that culture of creativity or set, set that stage for your team members to be more creative. So that would be the most important thing that I would like to recommend.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, we started this conversation with a very simple question when we said, what is it that a machine can never do? And somewhere along the way, with a lot of people interacting and participating so positively, we found the answer that it's not just creativity, it's about human creativity, guided by judgment, shaped by values, by sentiments, by emotions. And that's what makes leadership human. And
Yes,
maybe that's the shift we all need to make, from being
yes,
efficient leaders to become thinking leaders, to become human leaders, and from giving answers to asking better questions.
exactly.
So that was a very, very good conversation. Not only a conversation, but it was a perspective shift. It was a mindset shift. And uh, and to everyone who's joined us today, if this conversation made you pause, think, or question something, then it has done its job. We'll continue bringing you conversations that challenge the way we think about leadership, not just from the boardroom, but from across the world. So, therefore, as I told you, next Wednesday, 29th April, we have a special guest from Chennai, AI, and Anand Iyer, as I told you, has a unique perspective on AI. He believes that the more AI can do, the more leadership will matter. So, see you on 29th. And until next time, stay curious, stay thinking, and most importantly, don't outsource your thinking. So with that, we come to the end of this. Let me see if there are any more comments that have come up. So I'm just showing you the comments, but I'm not going to discuss them now. Oh, that's Oliver. Hi, Oliver. How are you? Uh, I'm so happy that you also attended. Uh, Ram Prasad is one of our PSI regular members. Okay. Uh, Yeah, that is also true. What Nikam is talking about, it has always been there. All army people, warriors have always come out with creativity. Okay, okay. I'm going to skip this one. Great learning. Thank you very much. Uh, yeah, Shipra had earlier also said this. Okay, so uh, guys, all of those who have more comments or those who will watch this recording who were not able to join us today, firstly, remember all Wednesdays, generally all Wednesdays, I'll say at the moment we decided twice a month, but for some reason this got delayed by a week, so we got two happening together. But certainly by June or July, we'll switch to weekly. All those who know of somebody who can bring great value, please suggest their names. And if you in the audience want to come on a podcast, let me know. It'll not depend on how good you are, it'll also depend on the variety of subjects that we need. So at least I'm starting to make a roster. I've already got about 10 names since the last 3 4 days, and anyone who wants to join us. Let's keep adding value together. It is not one or two people here. That is why I wanted to make it as interactive. It is not only me and Dorji. I think today we have had a lot of wisdom from our audience as well. Thank you, Dorji. Thanks each one of you for being
Thank
here.
you.
You are the ones who made it happen. There, Jai Hind.